Folks, it's now time for that far-left nutter, Tim Cook, to go. It now appears that Donald Trump is to blame for Apple's recent demise. Have a look at this.
Tech giant Apple has become the biggest casualty of US President Donald Trump's trade war with China.
Wow, already blaming Trump. Who would have thought? Anyway, right now I'll skip through to the next part.
The iPhones, embedded in the Apple boss's surprise message, was a warning that could have implications for big companies, big employers all over the world, including here in the UK. And the warning is this: everything is not going exactly according to plan in the world's second biggest economy, China.
This manufacturing and exporting superpower had hoped to shift more towards an economy in which the spending of increasingly affluent Chinese consumers would drive growth.
If that plan bore fruit, then it would be great news for producers of consumer goods everywhere in the world, including in the UK, in the US, everywhere else. Apple, Jaguar, all kinds of other consumer goods and so on would find an export market in China. Unfortunately, the last year or so, they've backtracked. They've gone into reverse on that process of trying to unlock the Chinese consumer.
China is the biggest car market in the world now. In November, sales fell 20%, and Jaguar Land Rover has already said a slump in China was a major reason for cutting over 1,000 jobs last year. This is all playing out against a US-China trade war, which is encouraging many.
So there you go. It's always Trump's problem. He's caused the problem. But what's Trump supposed to do? Is he supposed to let China keep on stealing their intellectual property? Is he supposed to let the trade imbalance continue? Is he supposed to let thousands and thousands of jobs move away from America to China? And I couldn't give a damn about Tim Cook and Apple, as their products are made in China anyway. Have a look at this.
For the first time ever, a journalist was allowed inside the secret factory in China where Apple iPhones and iPads are made. In recent weeks, a number of reports have raised serious questions about the workers there, the long hours, the pressures, the low pay, the life. ABC's Bill Weir made his way into the giant factory and tonight tells us what he saw.
Her name is Xiao Ying. She's a 27-year-old mother of two, and she makes a living slicing apples, trimming aluminum burrs from those iconic iPad logos. She has helped make hundreds of thousands of these coveted gadgets, but since it would take 3 months' salary to buy an iPad of her own, this is the first time she's ever seen the final product, and her eyes light up.
That's my daughter, yeah. She likes climbing trees.
Your daughter is cute, naughty, she says, which is poignant since her kids live 2 hours away and she can afford to see them just once a month. But this is typical for most of the 235,000 who work in this one Foxconn complex.
Did you get that? 235,000 work in this one complex. So that, folks, is 235,000 jobs America is losing to one factory in China.
Many leave distant villages where families live in rooms like this.
How do you stay warm?
To share a dorm room like this with 7 strangers. Foxconn attracts a lot of business by having workers close to the assembly line. They spend 12 hours a day in the factory with 2 one-hour meal breaks to march single file to a massive canteen for meat and rice. And if they eat fast enough, they'll grab a nap back at their spot on the line. And if Foxconn ever needs more workers, there are always crowds of applicants like this, all hoping to earn a wage Americans haven't seen since the 1950s. While the average worker building electronics in the U.S. today makes over $23 an hour and works 41 hours a week, most of the people at Foxconn earn just over $2 an hour.
So $2 an hour, folks. So that's why that sanctimonious prick Tim Cook has Apple products made in China. Now, let's not forget this about that sanctimonious prick.
Others. Perhaps most importantly, it drives us not to be bystanders as hate tries to make its headquarters in the digital world. At Apple, we believe that technology needs to have a clear point of view on this challenge. There is no time to get tied up in knots. That's why we only have one message for those who seek to push hate, division, and violence. You have no place on our platforms. You have no home here. From the earliest days of iTunes to Apple Music today, we have always prohibited music with a message of white supremacy. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. And as we showed this year, we won't give a platform to violent conspiracy theorists on the App Store. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. My friends, if we can't be clear on moral questions like these, then we've got big problems.
My God, the sanctimonious prick talks about morality. Now, is it moral, Mr. Cook, to employ people in China for $2 an hour, to exploit them for $2 an hour? Folks, this guy, Tim Cook, is the problem at Apple. It's got nothing to do with Trump. After virtually silencing speech, he's trying to silence speech here, and after spewing out anti-white sentiment, he expects America and the rest of the Western world to buy his products. Try and figure that one out.